If you were to peer into the mourner's skull, where all this feeling is electrical signals firing, what you'd see are nerve fibers, long strands of tissue that look like dead people's hair, braided into amulets, lockets and barrows and old tombs. You'd see little lightning storms of rising glare. You'd see it all as pure physical phenomena. Nerves lit up on the screen in troughs, spikes, no interpretation, no allegory, no one listening to music in a room. The not there listener sits inside. No solitary midsummer afternoon of watching rain slide down the non-existent pane. Why does he only come back to her in fragments, a head floating above a not quite present body, or just a close-up of his hand? Why does he keep vanishing into wave bands of electrons, staticky flashes signaling to the brain only his nose, his right eye, imposed one upon another in scenes she can't control, his face shoved in hers, now drifting high up in the clouds. The more she tries to make him come back, the more she has to endure him dissolving into thin, continuous dreaming of the nothing he's becoming. But even as that nothing, he's still hers. She sits at her table and weaves what she can into coil on coil of an uneasy narrative that pushes him farther out into his orbit until all she can see, all anyone can see, is the braid she makes from strand on strand of his gradual unraveling. Close-up of his hand to peer into the mourner's skull, nerve fiber, where all this feeling is electrical signals firing, staticky flashes are nerve fibers, the braid she makes, long strands into the mourner's skull, like dead people's hair, braided into amulets, little lightning storms and barrows and old tombs dissolving into thin, continuous streaming of rising glare. You'd see it all as pure physical phenomena from strand on strand, nerves lit up his gradual unraveling, spikes, nerve fibers, no interpretation, no allegory, peer into the mourner's skull, no one listening to music in a room. The not there listener sits inside, close-up of his hand, no solitary midsummer afternoon, nerve fibers of watching rain slide down the non-existent staticky flashes. Why does he only come back to her in fragments, peer into the mourner's skull, a head floating above a not quite present body, little lightning storms, or just a close-up of his hand dissolving into thin, vanishing into wave bands of electrons, staticky flashes signaling to the brain only his nose of his right eye unraveling, imposed one upon another in scenes she can't control. Peer into the mourner's skull, hers, now drifting high up in the clouds. Close-up of his hand, the more she tries to make him come back, fibers, the more she has to endure him dissolving into staticky flashes streaming. The braid she makes peer into the mourner's skull, but even as that nothing, he's still hers. Little lightning storms. She sits at her table and weaves into thin, continuous streaming, coil on coil of an uneasy narrative that pushes him farther out into his orbit until his gradual all she can see, all anyone can see, is the braid she makes peer into the mourner's skull, strand of his gradual unraveling, close-up of his hand, nerve fibers, staticky flashes, the braid she makes peer into the mourner's skull, little lightning storms dissolving into thin, continuous streaming from strand on strand of his gradual unraveling, nerve fibers peer into the mourner's skull, from strand on strand of his gradual unraveling, nerve fibers Peer into the mourner's skull. Close-up of his hand. Unnerved fibers. Staticky flashes. Vibrate and move. Peer into the mourner's skull. Little lightning storms. Dissolving into sin, continuing streaming. A strand on strand. His gradual unraveling. Nerve
People